hard for parents to be vulnerable with their kids?
I can go because my answer is super short for this one. I think it's role conflict in a way where you know how they say like a manager can't always be a friend or a parent can't always be a friend because I think some parents or some managers, and I'm speaking more from a manager standpoint because that's what I've been. I haven't been a parent. Is that they perceive that their credibility might be shaken if they show any signs of like imperfection or they show any sort of like they show the chinks in their armor in a way. So I think that role conflict definitely makes it harder.
You do say that, and it is like a common belief too. But then I actually like found a study that said with leadership, today in our days, vulnerability is like one of the most important things that sort of makes you relatable to them, so that they also want to be vulnerable with you, and that is something that that you won't see a lot with like people who are like a bit older, and their methodologies are a bit different. And I think it's while what you're saying is very true with the role playing and everything, I also feel that vulnerability was not a good thing a few decades back, and some people are still conditioned to see everything in that way. And because of that, they're trying to do the right thing, and the right thing is not to show vulnerability. And that is why both with managers as well as like with parents, they don't show vulnerability because they do believe that showing vulnerability is a weakness, or showing vulnerability is bad. And not just that it would be a bad experience, but it would have detrimental effects. And and it would also have a detrimental effect in their relationship with who they're being vulnerable to, because that means you're saying you could be wrong, and it's not easy to say you're wrong, right? So similarly, it's not easy to be vulnerable, uh, especially with a parent where you've taken care of them, you've taken decisions for them when they were a minor, and when you have been the person they look up to, you don't want to suddenly become a person that what if they don't look up to me once I am vulnerable with them. And like those questions obviously pop up, and the first time you do it would definitely be the hardest. But like while that is there, I still do think that once you do it once, you would definitely have a good effect. And even if it didn't work, I can definitely say that you similarly the way you were conditioned, you can also condition them to be susceptible and I mean not susceptible, receptive to vulnerable, being the comforter for someone being vulnerable. And of course, it's a great school to teach someone as like your kid to. Ilakkiya?
Really good answer, Akshay and Sia both. I kind of wanted to react to something Sia said about kind of like from the manager perspective because I it, it's I acknowledge that. I think it's hard because you're trying to be a role model, right? And to show vulnerability means that like what if I'm not as much of a role model? What if I'm not perfect? I'm trying to show off that I know all my stuff. And so like the people that I kind of take care of and I'm a role model for, when I went into quarantine because I was exposed to someone who tested positive for COVID, I didn't want to tell them that because I didn't want them to see me as a person who was irresponsible, who got COVID, who went and met someone with COVID, who wasn't taking the pandemic seriously. Like I do all those things, but this it happened this way. But I didn't want to let them know that I went to quarantine. That was something that I was not okay to be vulnerable about with them because I wanted to be seen as, I do it all right. I do it good, as a role model. So that makes it really hard. And parents probably go through the same thing as well of wanting to be the person that their kids can look up to, who always knows the right thing to do, and that makes it hard. And most of the time, things that you be vulnerable about are like slightly negative things or things that you're unsure about or you're doubtful of or you're questioning and you don't think are great. But I started to think while you were both answering this question that parents could be vulnerable about good things, like if they're vulnerable about the rationale behind decisions that they're making that they're asking their kids to follow, that kind of vulnerability might make it much easier for their kid to listen to them and follow them and understand why their parents are doing what they are. In that case, it might be helpful. But otherwise, it's hard because they kind of want to maintain a stat. Like there's a little bit of a power dynamic, right? Of like, I'm your dad, I'm your mom, you'll do what I say, right? Sometimes when the situation demands for it. And that kind of wall between you and your kid would be broken down if you be vulnerable and share with them what you're feeling, and it would open up for your kid to come share more with you too and be more vulnerable with you, in which case the wall will get thinner, and some people are afraid of that.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you'd like to see more videos on the topic, make sure to check out our playlist where we answer more questions. We'll see you next time.